Hey, Clear Lake peeps. Ross England here with your fishing and activities report for, actually it's going to be April 1st, 2021. Yeehaw. I'm sitting here in a really nice place right now. The wind is howling through the trees above me, which has kind of been the story for pretty much since our last report. Had one really good day where it was just dead calm all over the place, and it was a pleasure because it just allowed us to go and fish and do whatever we wanted to do and fish the way that we thought we needed to have to, and we had a good day out of that. So let's go over your conditions really quick. I've been on the upper end and in the redbud arm. The redbud arm has water quality. You can see almost 5 feet in some areas, maybe more, I don't know. That was just as of yesterday. On the upper end of the lake, from what I've seen over the last couple of days, we'll be generous and call it 3 feet. In a lot of areas, because of the wind blowing and all the mud stirred up, we'll call it 1.5 feet. And there may be some areas where it's even more. Starting water temperature has been 56 degrees. I saw it as high as 62 yesterday afternoon, especially if you're in an area that has more stained water. You'll find that in the afternoon it'll be a lot warmer than in areas where the water is clear. So let's see. There's so much stuff going on. I actually had to take a picture of my calendar so I make sure I covered it all. Bear with me. And I can't hardly read it. Okay, so this weekend I have, actually the permit shows that ABA has a tournament scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. Talking to somebody today, he said it's just a one-day tournament. Sorry, I don't know which one, but regardless, with it being an ABA, it won't be that big of an event, so it won't be that big of a deal for this coming weekend. The following weekend, there is an Edge tournament scheduled for Saturday. That is the 10th. I have no idea how big of an event that's going to be. Then there's a Lake County High School event on Sunday the 11th, and then we come to the Week of Doom, and the Week of Doom is the following week where we have the One Bass Northern Open, which will run, I believe it is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then believe it or not, there's a BBT scheduled that weekend. So if there was ever a week to avoid being on Clear Lake, it's going to be that week. So that covers the activities. We covered the water conditions already. So let's talk about the fishing a little bit. We finally had our best day this year. Had a client out on Friday, and like I said earlier, the conditions were very good, so I could go anywhere, I could do anything. The wind was not a bother. He put together a 28-pound limit with 7 pounds as his big fish, so it was a really good limit of fish. We had 20 fish. Each day that we've fished since then, we've had 20 fish. The other day, it was a real scraper to be able to do that. We had some early in the morning. We went about 5.5 hours fighting the wind down south and only getting a bite here and a bite there. And then finally the late afternoon bailed us out, and we were able to put the other half of our fish in basically in the last hour we fished, between 4 and 5. That's still the deal here right now, in my opinion. The afternoon, when the water temperature is the warmest, is when these fish are the most active, and you really have the best chance to find a little gang of them. I have not seen them, but multiple reports of fish, we'll call it in bedding areas, like they're about to spawn. I'm sure that if with the water temperature the way it's been, if you spend some time looking around in the right places, you'll probably find some bed fish. It's a little bit, it really is a little bit early. You've got to remember, last week we had water temperature that was 49 and 50 degrees, so it popped up quick, but it's not going to be early very long. It would not surprise me if there aren't areas around the lake, some of the early places that turn on, that you'll be able to find some bedfish. I really think that the fishing turned good with this warmer weather that we've had, even though the price has been windier than snot, so it's just been a real booger to get around on the lake in some areas pretty consistently. And you know, Clear Lake being Clear Lake, if you go somewhere because you think it's blowing away from you and you get there and you're there 5 minutes and it starts blowing back at you. So cover the baits real quick that we've caught fish on this week. Shaky head, a drop shot, a Ned rig, a jig. Don't faint. Yes, I said a jig. Several different swim baits, mostly medium size. I'm not throwing great big ones, and a couple different sizes of rip baits. So there's a little bit of reaction bite, there's a little bit of plastics bite. It just depends on where you're fishing, what time of day it is, and where you know, obviously where you are. But look for the bite to really continue to improve. Like I said, we've bumped ourselves up in a week from 10 fish days to 20 fish days. We're probably just around the corner from 25 to 35 fish days. I fished this morning before I put this thing together, and I had fished for 4 hours. Actually, I BS'd with a couple people for probably 45 minutes, and then probably fished for a solid 3 hours. And in 3 hours I caught 12 fish this morning, had a 20-pound limit with no big fish, just really good solid. Some of them are males, some of them are small females, and that's been about what our limits have been, 18 plus. I don't know about catching another big limit again. I'm sure it'll happen. It's just, it seems like, just like yesterday, I had great plans to go and do some stuff, and the wind just said, no, you're not going to. So, you know what, I really appreciate all the comments and the interaction that I get from you folks down below. I really appreciate that. I know some people have asked me about crappie, and I'm just going to tell you, yeah, there's people catching crappie, but I'm not going to tell you where. Same old deal. As soon as one person finds out, there's 20 boats sitting there, and everybody's keeping everything they catch. So they are catching crappie around the lake. I've seen them in several different areas, and just ourselves, just fishing, we've caught crappie, both on swim baits and rip baits, and actually a drop shot. Oh, and a Ned rig. So, you know, the thing is, when you catch a crappie on a bass bait, they're usually pretty good sized ones. They're 2.5 to 3 pounds. So I think that'll do it for today. We'll continue to update you and try to remind you about that one bass event coming up. Don't get me wrong, if you want to get out there and fish during that event, knock yourself out, go have fun and enjoy it. Just know what you're getting into, and you know, with the BBT being there that weekend, you know, it's very possible you could have 350 boats out bouncing around and competing with you for space. So hopefully everybody's courteous, behaves themselves, and nobody thinks that they own any particular piece of water. That's all you can really hope for. So we'll talk to you next week. Caleb, my little buddy, I'm glad you're back from vacation. Hope school goes well. We'll see you when we see you. You're never forgotten.